Hello, I'm Coach Natalie, and welcome to this episode of Jiu Jitsu for Dummies. Well, today we have a special celebration. If you watched last week's video, you'll saw that we did a Bravo choke from the guard, and then this week we're going to learn more using that Bravo choke, or also called the lapel feed. But last night we reached our 101st subscriber, which is a huge milestone. So in celebration, we're going to be learning a special new technique today, which is the calf crusher from the turtle. Now, normally I wouldn't be teaching a calf crusher to, out and out beginners. If you're follow the IBJJF, you're not allowed to do the calf crusher until you're a black belt or a brown belt. But I think it's important to at least be aware of these positions. We'll talk a little bit more about that later on. But let's learn the calf crusher and then some of the details and considerations. Okay, let's break it down. Now, we're going to be assuming that our partner here is on their hands and knees in what we call the turtle position. Now, there's a guy named Eduardo Tellez who's made a career out of the turtle, but as I've mentioned in previous videos, it's a position that otherwise, people don't want to be in. And there's a variety of reasons for that. One would be because you're susceptible to this submission that we're going to be learning today. Now, if your partner, in this case your dummy, is on their hands and knees, if they know what they're doing, they're going to be closing off the space here with this elbow-knee connection, really creating a wall. So what we're going to need to do is create some space here. So I'm going to be putting my arm around their back, and with this far hand, I'm going to be reaching in, grabbing their forearm, and, flaring their elbow out. That's going to cause a little bit of space. It will allow me to get my foot in. Now, if this was an MMA situation where I'm, hitting their head, then of course they're going to be covering their head, and that's also going to provide the space. But let's just assume this is a friendly roll in your gym, or maybe you're just practicing with your dummy in the living room. You're going to put your hand on their back to secure them from rolling away, and you're going to take your hand, reach in, grab their forearm, and flare out their elbow. And that's going to create a little space. Next thing I want to do is I want to get this leg in, this far leg, inside between their two legs. We'll call that the hook. My foot, in this case, is kind of hooking into them. So, flare out the space. This foot is now going to go in between both of their legs. Now, if I was trying to do a rear naked choke, I'd take the other leg and put it on the other side and flip them, to my back and get the choke. But we don't need to do that right now. So, as soon as the foot is in here, I immediately am going to turn so that I'm facing south. As soon as I can, I want to triangle my leg. I really have to secure this leg. Last move, I really want their heel to be pointing upwards and their toe to be pointing straight outward. That means that their back of their calf is going to be right next to my shin, grabbing their toes with my two hands. Slowly, slowly, slowly start pulling back. Again. maybe we'll switch them to another angle. Sally here is in the turtle position. She's kind of flopping over here. So, again, as I mentioned, I have my hand on her back. I'm reaching in, flaring out the arm, which is going to cause some space and allow me to get my leg inside between her two legs. It's going to look like this. As soon as I can, really want to secure this leg with my two legs. Right now I'm what we call triangling the legs. Last thing I'm going to do is make sure that her heel is up, her toes are pointed forward, because that means that the calf is going to be right next to my shin. So with my two hands on her one foot, start pulling back, tap, 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 and you'll get the tap pretty quickly. So, there's not a lot of mistakes you can make with the calf cutter. Obviously, you want to secure them with your arm. You don't want them to roll away. Once they feel your shin behind their knee, they may realize that they're in trouble. Then they might really try to move their leg. And so, as much as possible, as soon as you get your leg in between their two legs, you really want to triangle their leg, and that way it's really going to trap it, keep them from escaping. The bigger mistake, which is really not a mistake, but more of a consideration, is the danger of this movement. Now, as I was mentioning, we don't usually teach this to white belts. The IBJJF says that really only black belts and brown belts should use this, because the time difference between you starting to do the submission and them incurring, permanent damage to their tibia, fibula, ligaments in their knees and that kind of thing is a very short amount of time. So they really only want, highly aware people to be, doing this in tournaments and stuff like that. But I'm teaching it because why I'm teaching heel hooks. Not that I think, white belts should be doing heel hooks, but you want to recognize when you're in a position that could be in danger. Right now, at this point, if you're in the turtle position and you realize that someone is behind your knee, you need to be aware very quickly. You may need to tap. That's a good thing about working with the dummy. Again, as I mentioned with the heel hook, if you do it the wrong way, you might cause, danger to a real human partner. But if you're with a dummy, well, then you can practice it, all you want without worrying about the, pain on your, texto friend here. But in any case, I think you should learn it, practice it with a dummy. If you do have a human partner, what I might do is, I mentioned that my legs can be between their two legs. If you want to get your leg, right behind their knee, what I would do is I would get to this position. And then, you could press a little bit and they'll start to see, oh, that's going to be a very painful move. But I wouldn't do it further than that. It's just, it's building awareness on their part that they're susceptible to the calf cutter. If you needed it in a real self-defense situation, I would say you'd had practice, and that was probably the reason why we learned it in this seminar, which, as I mentioned, or maybe didn't, was given by Master Hoyler Gracie. Now he's my teacher's teacher, so I was able to go to this seminar. I just got my purple belt at that point, so it was a pretty special opportunity. Most of the seminar was self-defense moves, but he did teach this as well. And as I said, in a self-defense situation, I'd have hesitation about using it against, you know, possible assailants. So let's learn it one more time. Again, you're going to be doing it when your partner is what we call the turtle position. So I'm putting my hand on their back, keeps them from rolling away, especially if they are connecting up their elbow and their knee and they don't have a lot of space here. You really have to reach in and flare open the elbow. In this case, you know, reach in, flare it out, gives you some space there. Than what I'm doing. I'm trapping this leg with the toes pointed in this direction, heel pointing straight up. And that's about as far as you're going to go before it starts to get too painful. So thank you for joining me. We started this series 13 months ago, 12 months ago. Actually, it's closer to 15 months ago. And I really couldn't have gotten this far without the support of my professor, Harold Utterback, Ryan Kelly, Tyler Pasqua, Coach Paul. These are all my teachers who've taught me the things that, you know, I'm privileged to share with you. We've gotten 31 subscribers in the last 4 weeks, and I really appreciate all the support of people who've been helping us to try to reach this milestone of 100 subscribers. Just in the last week, Jackie Vasquez, Charles Craig, Zanya, Kobe and Sean from the Blood Center, when I was donating blood a few days ago, they signed up. Professor Tyler, Michael McCaffrey, 95 others. Really, it takes a village. So really appreciate all of your support, because we're now at 100 subscribers. We can make some improvements to the channel. So looking forward to sharing those with you in the next couple of weeks. So in the meantime, thank you very much for your support and for taking this time to join me for this special episode of Jiu Jitsu for Dummies.